Greetings from the East Granby Public Schools. I am Dr. Christine Mahoney, Superintendent of Schools. Welcome to this inaugural segment of Your Schools, a new program in which the East Granby Public Schools, the Board of Education, and our entire learning community will share information with you to help you to get to know us better. Our goal is to provide you with information about our schools, our educational programs, activities, initiatives, and accomplishments. Each of our administrators will be featured speakers in these segments. This early segment of Your Schools today features Mr. David Pelling, who is the principal of East Granby High School. Today I'm joined by Board of Education member and Secretary to the Board of Education, Mrs. Michelle Holt. She will serve as our host today and will be interacting with Mr. Pelling while he shares information about East Granby High School. These segments that are being taped will be available for your viewing pleasure. You can view this at the regular GCTV airings, or you may access them through the GCTV website. They will also be available at the East Granby Public Schools website. We hope you will enjoy our segments. This is the first of many, and at this point I will turn it over to Mrs. Holt.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mahoney, and I'm very excited to be part of this program and these segments that we'll be having with our school administrators. I think Your Schools is a really appropriate title for our program. It really brings it home to our community that these are your schools, and this is information that will be really important for them. So I hope that our viewers find it informational. I'm very excited to be here. As Dr. Mahoney mentioned, we're here with Mr. Dave Pelling, the principal of the East Granby High School. Hello, Dave.
Hi, Michelle. Dr. Mahoney.
We wanted to start off with just getting to know a little bit about your background. I know you're a resident of Granby and close neighbor, and so tell us a little bit about yourself and what makes you tick.
Right. Well, I am a Connecticut, born and raised, graduated from Weathersfield High School, and after spending some time out west getting my undergrad degree, I started teaching history at Hall High School back in 1994. And I did that for about 20 years, and then during that time I got involved with mentoring young teachers and working on curriculum and other aspects, and discovered that I really enjoyed that kind of work. So I began to transition towards school leadership.
Okay, well, good. And so now you've been here at the high school. You're starting your third. This is the third year at the high school.
Yes. Yep.
Good. Good. What type of what did the vision and the goals for the school? How do they align with the district goals? If you want to maybe give a summary of that for our viewers.
Right. I think that the first thing that I would say is that my vision would encompass the idea that we're going to have a very rigorous academic program at the high school, and we're going to have a very high bar, and we're really going to, push our students and our faculty to be as successful and as accomplished as they can. But at the same time, as a parent, what I really want for each graduate, and I'm thinking of my own kids and what I would want for them when they graduate, is that by the time they leave the high school, they have some sense of who they are as a person and how they sort of fit into the world. It might be that they're going on to a 4-year school and they're going to be an engineer or some other profession. It may be that they're going to be a welder. Maybe they're going to work on their dad's farm. But whatever that is, we want them to have a sense of how they connect to the broader community and what their contribution is going to be. And we want to develop that.
So it sounds like it's a combination of academic rigor and expecting the best of the highest performance we can, as well as making a whole person out of them as well, helping to encourage them to see themselves in the whole
right.
picture, the big picture
Exactly.
of life. Well, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. And along those lines, we have a lot of unique things here in East Granby. What do you think makes our school so unique or special?
Well, the first thing that makes our school special or unique is its size. So we are one of the smaller high schools in the state of Connecticut, but I view that as an opportunity. If you look at many of the most prominent private schools, for instance, in their state, they are just about that same size. And it's an opportunity for us to do what all boards of ed want, which is to meet the needs of all students. And it really gives us an opportunity to get to know our students, and it's very hard to hide at East Granby High School.
Right, they all know your
You know,
name.
that's right. You're not one of 1,600, but you're one of 300. And I think that's a real opportunity. And we try to take full advantage of that. I mean, I think in many ways, we are a public school with kind of private school results. And we see that when we compare ourselves to other schools, our results are right up there.
Yeah, the approach that I know a lot of folks talk about too is that it's an individualized learning environment where you can really see the child for who they are and what they're interested in and work with them and be able to. That goes along with what you're saying about you're not just a number, you're a name. We all know it's hard to get lost in the shuffle.
Exactly.
But that's a wonderful thing about East Granby, very unique and special. East Granby High School and how it relates to community members. What kind of special programs, or is there something going on at the high school that our not only parents and students can be interested in, but our whole community in general? Is it
Right.
going on?
Yeah, we make a number of efforts throughout the year to reach out and get the community involved. The one that's coming up immediately is our Veterans Day celebration.
That's right.
So each year for the last 2 years anyway, I think 30 to 40 veterans who live right here in East Granby come in and they present to each of our social studies classes. We also have a school-wide presentation, and then we end up serving the veterans lunch, which is the lunch is made by our kids in our foods classes. So it's really a terrific day, and the students really love it.
Yeah, it seems to be a memorable occasion
right.
for a lot of them.
And there's a surprisingly large number of veterans here in East Granby. I mean, I suppose it might be the proximity to the air base, but last year I sat next to a gentleman who had served on, Iwo Jima during World War II, and they're still here. So a second project that we're doing is we're capturing their stories. And we've videotaped many of them and interviewed them. And one of our social studies teachers, David Mandrella, along with our librarian, is creating a East Granby history site, where we're kind of, at this point we're focusing on veterans, but at future points we may get into other aspects of East Granby history and kind of build the site up over time. And I think it's a real exciting project for historians because this puts a student in the role of the historian. They're the ones doing the interviews and the research and seeing how it all fits. In addition, we have a community service requirement, and each student is required to do 25 hours of community service by the time they graduate. Every year I've been here, we have far exceeded that. So most years we have something like 4,000 hours of community service.
That's amazing.
Which is, it's more like 40 hours or 50 hours per kid. And
they do 25 in a year.
Right? No, they come in and they meet with our assistant principal and they discuss what they've done and they write it up and they do a very nice job. Some additional ways In the spring, we have a Senior Citizens Day. So we invite all the senior citizens to come in, and again, they get a tour of the school, and then we provide them lunch, again, made by our food classes. And then another way, each year we put on a Pops concert for the community, which is
Very big event.
a big event, absolutely. And so we're really working hard at trying to connect to the community and make the kids in the community kind of
Interact, there's a lot to be obviously benefit to the schools and the community when they can tie the groups together in that way. And we look forward to all those wonderful programs and talking more about them and sharing them with our community. There is a special program that we have, not that all the other programs are special, but there's one that we're especially proud of. I know the fifth-year degree, associate's degree program with this Nuntuck. Do you want to talk a little bit about that program as well and give us an idea?
I sure do.
Yeah, you sure do.
So this program is one of the first of its kind in the state of Connecticut, and it really addresses the fact that here in Connecticut, first of all, we have a lot of manufacturing in this area, right? I think about half the families in East Granby are actually connected to manufacturing, and there's a tremendous need for folks to continue in those fields. So there's a shortage, for instance, of welders, and this is a true story. I'm waiting at the doctor's office last year, and I'm sitting next to this older gentleman, about 70, maybe 65, and we started talking, and he had retired, moved back from Florida because they couldn't find enough welders, and they put so much money in front of him. He came back from Florida out of retirement because they just can't find people to do these jobs. And so what we've done is, working with East Granby manufacturers and as Nuntuck Community College, created a program where a student can, with one additional year of school, get a associate's degree, an associate's in science in manufacturing or advanced manufacturing technology, and they might also get a certificate, for instance, for welding or one of the other disciplines, and at the end of 1 year they have an associate's degree. At that time they can matriculate into either a four-year college like Central Connecticut or Eastern or University of Hartford, or they can go straight into the workforce. It's really up to them. And there are great jobs out there for folks who have this background, and they're high-paying jobs. They're jobs that are in demand, and we think it's an exciting program.
Sure. Go ahead.
I think this is a particularly unique program because it benefits so many stakeholders. It certainly benefits the students in that they will be able to earn advanced credentials in a very short period of time. It also benefits the manufacturers because they will have a pool of applicants for the various positions that they offer. And in addition to that, the students have an opportunity to complete an internship with our local East Granby manufacturers or some other manufacturing enterprises that are nearby, and they will be walking away with an associate's in science degree and very specialized skills that makes them even more valuable to employers. I think parents also benefit tremendously from this, knowing that your child will be able to earn an associate's degree with just 1 year on the Nuntuck Community College campus after they finish high school. And in these economic times, that's a huge win for parents and obviously for the students as well. They won't have huge college loans to repay, and of course the monies that parents would have used to pay for an additional year, they can redirect to something else. So it is a tremendous asset to not just East Granby High School, but to our community as well and to our parents. So it really is a phenomenal program.
I agree. One of the things that that some people may have some questions about the program is, they get stuck in their mind, well, it's a community college, or it's the stigma of a manufacturing job. Today, and Dave, you can maybe add, or Dr. Mahoney, you can add as well, it's a really changed industry. I mean, it has its traditional roles, but then it's really kind of morphed into just such a great opportunity. I think that that's an important thing for parents, and with students considering this, that it's not your grandfather's, shop anymore. They're all very high tech. They're very challenging. And the great thing about this, not just nice, but about the 5th year degree program is that it seems that it can not only be a program that if a child can take it on to the 4-year college, and take it farther and get their bachelor's degree, but also, or they could take it in a different path and start working. So it's really I like to use the word launching pad for students into a well-paying industry, and they can take it from there.
Another interesting thing about this program is, though it is as Nantuck, and it is starting in the Division of Advanced Manufacturing Technologies, the careers that are possible with this degree are enormous. If students are interested in engineering, they can certainly benefit from this program. If they are interested in the biomedical field, in terms of working in an industry where they're manufacturing prostheses or medical instruments, this is a phenomenal area to start in, because it gives them the hands-on experience in terms of using the computer to design, and then to be able to use a 3D printer or a CNC machine or some other piece of equipment to manufacture that body part or some other tool or instrument that can be used in the medical field. So, it is all of that, and then it is also all the other careers that surround the manufacturing industry. So the human resources person, or the accounting person, the business, the management, the leadership of any of these manufacturing ventures. I think so many doors can be opened for students who pursue this particular program.
Dave, if a family is interested for their student, what do they do at the school to get more information?
All they need to do is talk to their guidance counselor.
Okay.
And we'd be happy to get them the information. And there's a number of opportunities through the year. We'll have an open house, and there's also an open house up at Nantuck. And so it'd be very, very easy.
Very good.
There's a summer program as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a summer program for students if they just want to find out, what does it feel like to work as a welder. A number of the faculty have gone up, probably 10 or 15 have done it, and I love the week I spent up there.
Did you? Yeah.
I really did. And my daughter wants to go back. She wants to go back to his Nantuck more than she wants to go back to camp.
Yeah, it sounds like a great opportunity, those summer weeks that you can go there. So families could contact their guidance counselor for more information, and maybe attend some of the open houses that are coming up. All right, great. Well, that's super. We know, just to sort of change directions a little bit, because it does still, it seems to be on the news or in everything you read, the educational reforms. What impacts have these reforms had on our school, and how, do you feel that it's impacting our program in, good ways, or, not so good? What can you tell us?
So I'd start with talking about the Common Core.
Okay.
And the Common Core, as many people know, was adopted by 45 states, 47, something like that. Everybody but Texas and Virginia. And governors got together and said, we really think that there ought to be a knowledge that students should have by the time that they graduate. And many of these are kind of thinking about, what would be the skills and things that they would need to be successful in college, or what would be the ones they'd need to be successful in the workforce. And it turns out that they're largely the same. The ability to think, the ability to write, the ability to think mathematically, quantitatively, critically, all right? And so at East Granby High School, and even though I've only been here 3 years, I also did my internship here, so I've been part of the community for about 6 now. I would say that it's from a curriculum point of view, it's been an adjustment, but it's been an adjustment of sort of just meeting or understanding what the new language is, but not a dramatic change in the expectations. So we've always emphasized writing and thinking critically, but for example, when we write now, instead of saying thesis, the new word is claim. Instead of saying sources, we say evidence. That kind of, so it's a little bit of adjusting the curriculum, but the fundamental, Algebra 2 is still kind of Algebra 2. The kind of writing, maybe the reading has changed a bit. There's somewhat more of an emphasis on nonfiction reading. But even there, at the high school level, it's not such a big adjustment because much of the reading that we would typically do through the day was already nonfiction. The reading we do in science and history, in other core subjects, other than, say, a literature class. So it's really just our job to make sure that our kids understand the expectations relative to the Common Core, and in the next year or two we'll begin to get a sense of where we are, and we'll keep working at it. I would say the other major reform has been teacher evaluation, and that's been a pretty stressful change, and I don't mean specifically for East Granby teachers, but I think for the whole field. We're now trying to measure every teacher according to some kind of numeric score, and I think that this is a very challenging task, because at the end of the day, teaching is about relationships. So in the same way that not everybody could put their marriage on a number, right?
Good analogy.
You can't, well, yeah, it's about, teachers making relationships with students and ultimately engaging them in the learning, and it's a very hard job to quantify in the way that they're trying, but we're working very hard at making it fair, and continuing to use it for the purpose of improving instruction and learning. All right, so it's really about the feedback cycle. When I come in, I watch your class, we have a conversation about how it went.
It's a tremendous amount of time, the evaluation, that between the different meetings, because it's not just one go in and evaluate. It's
That's
a
right.
series of evaluations, and then feedback, and then report writing, and
So to do one observation in the current system might take anywhere from 5 to 6 hours, and there are multiple observations of each teacher each year, and non-tenured folks get observed 6 times. So it is. Yeah,
it's a huge chunk of
That's
time.
right.
But well, good. So it sounds like East Granby was on the track, or has these our curriculum and our program in line, and then it's really just changing some of the wording about surrounding the Common Core and evaluations. If a parent or family had questions about how it impacts their child, directly, or say about assessments and things like that, where would they go for questions? Would they call you or their guidance
Absolutely.
counselor? Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
And they could also come to our open houses and read our newsletters. And we're really trying to get the information out there. This year will be a big year because the SBAC test will be given again in the spring.
Okay.
And then next year we'll get those results, and that'll probably be our baseline, and we'll kind of get a comparative sense of where we are.
And is that's the 10th grade this year?
The 11th grade.
The 11th grade takes the
Right.
SBAC. Okay.
Yep.
Takes that. All right. Oh, good. Well, that's, we'll keep our viewers informed as we go along, and we'll keep on top of that. Just to sort of kind of give us, in a summary, technology, the 21st century, skills that our students need. Where do you see all of this in East Granby at the high school culminating, to help bring our students where we're going to be in 5 years with our students, with all of these concepts and technology? Could you give us your crystal ball view of 5 years in the future?
All right. I think that it's a little bit like a continuum, but we are going to continually get more and more personalized. So, for example, when I took the GREs to get into grad school a couple of years ago, when you did a couple of math problems, the computer immediately adjusted the nature of the next math problem that you did. All right? And so it's this kind of interaction between you and the computer where it's kind of the assessing your ability and then teaching and instructing next. And
finding where you need to.
That's right. So we're seeing, this idea of sort of, they call them personalized learning environments where you can move through the curriculum as fast or as slow as you need to. And I think that we're going to move more and more in that direction, which kind of ties into our second big change, which is that we're going to move more towards a standards-based curriculum as opposed to and grading and evaluating. So again, as long as you need to get to a particular point, you're going to have that. So maybe one student can move through curriculum in 6 months, another student needs 10. We might, I think that's where we're going to be in 5 years. And it's going to be a pretty big change.
Yeah, that sounds like pretty, blurring the lines between, how moving at the speed of the student. And I think that that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, there's some real interesting experiments around the country. There's one high school out in Napa Valley where the students just kind of move from station to station and they spend as much time as they need at each area until they get that task done. And then, if they need more time in math and less in Spanish, that's okay. And it's kind of an interesting concept. It'll be interesting to see how it works out in the future.
Wow, that sounds really neat. And with technology and becoming more and more a part of everyone's day, that type of environment is just going to fit right into everyone's lifestyle. Well, we look forward to learning more about that. I believe that our time is up for our episode of our edition of Your Schools, our inaugural edition of Your Schools. I thank you very much, Dave, for coming and talking with us, and hope our viewers found it informative. And thank you, Dr. Mahoney, for having us and pulling this together, and we look forward to having our other school administrators on and giving our viewers a summary of what we're doing and what's going on in your schools.
I agree. I think this is an exciting thing to do for our community so that they have a better understanding of how their resources are being invested and have a better idea of the accomplishments. It's about what is the community, what is our return on our investment. And we certainly don't want to keep secrets or keep it to ourselves. The community really should know the great things that are happening in our schools. And I am very proud of all of our schools.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.